but I won't know it.
Okay, well, I'll just keep my ears and eyes open.
All right, grab a Siddur in case that's helpful. And where is the thingy? Don't call me Shirley.
Is the microphone on? I think it is. Because I'm hearing something's like rattling. Something's rattling. Is it that microphone holder? Because I'm down here.
See this?
Huh?
This is all in a spongy kind of thing.
Can you pick it up for 1 second?
However, the wire. Is that better?
It is a little better. I'm going to avoid some of the lower notes. It's kind of buzzing.
I found a paperclip.
So it's been so long.
You know, some things change and some things don't.
The only reason I like change is because I can't remember what I did. It's not really like my shortcomings. I'd be stuck in my ways if I could remember them.
That's a good line.
Shabbat Shalom to near and wide. It's nice to see everybody, the few, the brave, the hundreds of thousands of people who are packing these seats. If you're online, it's standing room only here at the sanctuary. And we're glad to see everyone. Shabbat Shalom. So we're going to take a deep breath. We're going to welcome Shabbat with Shalom Aleichem on page 5.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Amalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Amalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Oy, oy, oy. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu Boachem L'Shalom Malachei HaShalom Malachei Elyon Mimelech Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Boachem L'Shalom Malachei HaShalom Malachei Elyon Mimelech Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Boachem L'Shalom Malachei HaShalom Malachei Elyon Mimelech Malachei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Baruch Hu Nil Shalom Malachei HaShalom Malachei Elyon Mimelech Malachei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Baruch Hu Nil Shalom Malachei HaShalom Malachei Elyon Mimelech Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Baruch Hu Nil Shalom Malachei HaShalom Malachei Elyon Mimelech Malachei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Tzedchem L'Shalom Malachei HaShalom Malachei Elyon Mimelech Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Tzedchem L'Shalom Malachei HaShalom Malachei Elyon Mimelech Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Tzedchem L'Shalom Malachei HaShalom Malachei Elyon Mimelech Malachei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
L'chuna ranana, come, let us sing songs of praise and gratitude and songs of centering our souls as we enter this Shabbat, as we begin to think about the memorial, the commemoration of Tisha B'Av, the 9 days of Av, and specifically the destruction of the Second Temple. And we begin to think about how we could bring healing and rebuilding to our lives and the lives of our community. L'chuna ranana, page 11.
L'chuna ranana l'Adonai nariya letzor yishenu nekadma fana b'toda bizmirot nariya lo nekadma fana b'toda bizmirot nariya lo ki el gadol Adonai umelech gadol al kol Elohim asher biyado mechkerei haaretz v'toafot harim lo asher biyado mechkerei haaretz v'toafot harim lo asher lo yami asau v'beshet yadav yatzau bo nishtachah v'nichura nivrachim bo nishtachah v'nichura 40 שנה אקוד בדור ואומרם טועה לבבהם והם לא ידעו דרכי אשר נשבעתי באפי אם יבואון אל מנוחתי. Turn now to pages 13 and 14 for Psalm 96. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברך ושמו, בסרו מיום ליום ישועתו, ספרו וגויים כבודו, בכל העמים נפלאותיו, כי גדול אדוני, ומולל מאוד, נורא הוא, על כל אלוהים, כי כל אלוהי העמים אלילים, ואדוני שמיים עשה, הוד והדר לפניו, עוז ותפארת במקדשו. הבו לאדוני משפחות עמים, הבו לאדוני כבוד ועוז, ויבואו לאדוני כבוד שמו, שאו מנחה ובואו לחצרותיו, ישתחוו לאדוני בחדרת קודש, חילו מפניו כל הארץ, אמרו בגויים אדוני מלך, אבתיקון תבל בל תימות, ידין עמים במישרים, וישמחו השמיים ותגל הארץ, וירם הים ומלואו, יעלו שדי וכל אשר בו, אז ירננו כל עצי יער לפני אדוני, כי בא לשפוט הארץ, ישפוט תבל בצדק, וימים באמונתו, ינאי לי לי לי, יאי לי 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 לי, יאי לי לי לי, yai lai yai lai yai lai, ai lai lai lai, ai lai lai lai. Page 15. Adonai malach tagel haaretz, yismechu im rabim. Adonai reverse vivav tzadim. Page 16, 4 lines from the bottom. Or zaru ala tzadik, ule yishre lev simcha. Or zaru ala tzadik, ule yishre lev simcha. Simchu tzadikim b'Adonai, והודו לזכר קודשו. שמחו צדיקים באדוני, והודו לזכר קודשו. יאי לי יאי, יאי נאי 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 נאי, יאי נאי 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 נאי, יאי נאי נאי נאי, יאי נאי 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 נאי, יאי לי לי נאי נאי נאי, I,
If someone was to ask you, when is Tisha B'Av? When is the 9th of Av? What would be the correct answer? Today would be the correct answer. It is actually, play yourself a chord. There you go. That's the enlightened chord. I got it right. So yes, today is Tisha B'Av. Why aren't we fasting, or today as in today, like after we light the candles today? So why are we not fasting on Tisha B'Av this year? Because it's Shabbos. So instead, we're going to fast after Shabbat. The fast is put off for Shabbat. It is it's not an accommodation. It's actually a statement of value to say, maybe this will be my Devar Torah. It's to say that look, like there is room in our lives where we should take stock, and we should We should mourn, we should reflect, we should look inwards towards ourselves and say, hey, what are we doing? But we're really good at that, actually. And maybe we're too good at that. And so we don't need more Tisha B'Av. We actually need more Shabbat. We need more time when we look at ourselves in the mirror and we say, hey, we're worth something. Hey, we're good people. Hey, we are worthy of love. We are worthy of connection. We are worthy of celebration. And that is a note that resounds throughout our tradition because Shabbat pushes aside the fast of Tisha B'Av. It's not to say that there won't be Tisha B'Av, that there isn't time for mourning, but the time for celebration, the time for embracing the fullness and joy of life supersedes, in this case, supersedes the call for tochecha or rebuke. And so I hope that we in our own lives can find space for when we're, it says in the Pasuk in the Torah, it says, V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, love your neighbor like you love yourself. And rightfully, we concentrate these days on loving our neighbors because maybe there's not enough of that in the world. But kamocha means like yourself. In other words, in order to love your neighbor, you need to first love yourself. And self-love, we live in a culture and a world of self-loathing where people look in the mirror and they want to change themselves. They want to be something else. They're going through Facebook feeds and thinking about all the things that they're not and all the things that they don't do. And Judaism is more about, celebrate who you are, celebrate what you do. And that is a foundation of our faith. So on this Shabbat, as we enter Tisha B'Av Amiti, like the real Tisha B'Av, let's be grateful that we do it with challah, that we do it with wine, that we do it with love, and that we do it with celebration and self-love. Shabbat Shalom.
And since the rabbi brought up Tisha B'Av,
and that's the whole thing. It was actually not going to be the Devar Torah, but since I brought up Tisha B'Av,
we are on page 23 for Lecha Dodi, and it is traditional to use the tune for Elitzion, which is sort of like the main special lamenting poem that we recite on Tisha B'Av. We're going to do it tomorrow night after we finish reading the book of Echa, and we will use the tune also earlier. And so, and the tune is very simple, and we're going to do the chorus and the verses go to the same tune. So I'm not even going to la it, because if you don't know it, which I'll bet all of you do, you'll catch on to it really quickly. Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmianu elam yuchad, Adonai echad, U'shemo echad, L'shemu tiferet v'litila, Lecha dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, Ki hi mekor haberacha, Merosh mikedem nesucha. Sof ma'aseh b'machshava techila, Lecha dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. נקבלה מקדש מלך עיר מלוכה קומי צאי מתוך אפיך רב לך שבט בימי קבחה והוא יחמול עלייך חמלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה התנערי מעפר קומי לבשי בגדי תפארתך עמי על יד בן ישי בית הלחמי קרבה אל נפשי גאלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה התעוררי התעוררי כי באורך קומי אורי 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 שיר דברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לא תבושי ולא תקלמי מה תשתוכחי ומה תמי בך יחסו עניי עמי ונבנתה עיר עתילה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה והיו למשי ששוסייך ורחקו כל מבלייך יסיס עלייך אלוהייך כי משוש חתן על כלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה ימין ושמאל תפרוצי ואת אדוני תעריצי על יד איש בן פרצי ונשמחה ונגילה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה גם בשמחה ובצהלה תוך אמוני עם סגולה בואי חלה בואי חלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה.
Page 27.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת טוב להודות להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות על יסור בלינה ועל יגן בכינור גמלת עניין בבלך. Page 28 at the arrow. Tzadik ata amar yifrach ke'eres balvanon yiskeh shetulim beveit Adonai בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו עוד ינובון בשיבה דשנים ורעננים להגיד כי ישר אדוני צורי צורי ולא עוולתה בו.
We'll invite everyone to please rise for the lighting of the candles. Yeah, what are you for? Come on. Do you want to come? When synagogue is date night, oh yeah, you can come too. Sure. It's fine. We have thousands of more people here to choose from for all of you online, if you're wondering. Okay. Do you want the microphone so you can sing for the people online?
Whatever you want. Becky, you take it away. Take the microphone so we can hear you.
I always go Hanukkah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
That's right. Yeah, I'll pucker up. Come on, let's get the. In the words of the Gemara, pucker up, Buttercup. Just please just be seated for just 1 second before we'll oh wait, no, this is not where the Devar Torah is. Okay, but I'll do it anyway. Yeah, I'll do another little, what's that? Yeah, I'll do another one. Okay. So actually I was talking earlier, so it'll be a through line. Maybe I'll think of, so it was, the through line I said is that we push aside, we cast aside the fast of Tisha B'Av in favor of Shabbat, the celebration of Shabbat, and that's an ethical or principled sort of approach to life in Judaism, right? That we embrace Shabbat over the melancholy of Tisha B'Av. And I reflected that that's something that is really necessary in our lives. That so often we're so negative, and most often we're most negative about ourselves. And it's not only true of us, it's true in the Torah portion. I was just thinking back to the Torah portion. It's the retelling of the story of the scouts and what happens when the scouts go into the Holy Land. And so why do we end up going through the wilderness for 40 years? Because essentially the scouts said, and the people bought into it, we're not good enough. We're not able to do this. It was a self-defeatist attitude that ultimately led to our downfall at that time. And for God to sort of say, wait a second, I need to wait out this generation until a new generation could arise, a generation that isn't self-loathing, a generation that hasn't been beaten down by their experiences in Egypt, a new generation that can look at themselves as able, capable, and worthy. And that's exactly what happens, right? That it is the generation that leaves Egypt that's never really able to cast aside the lowness of slavery. They had been treated like slaves so long that they began to believe it. And ultimately, they're never able to overcome that. And so it's just to remind us of the power of self-loathing. I mean, I was trying to look it up, but at one point, God says, this is a bad generation. And I was thinking about that, like, why is God so sort of judgmental to these poor people? And maybe the way of looking at it is like a spoiled generation. What I mean by that is, unfortunately, spoiled by their suffering, right? And we see that. We see people who've endured such hurt and such pain in their lives that they are no longer able to muster a smile, and they're no longer able to muster love for themselves. And so it's a reminder to us that we all have our challenges, but the importance of embracing Shabbat, even when there is Tisha B'Av, it's something for us all to consider. Shabbat Shalom. Okay, we're going to now continue, and I promise no more Devar Torahs. We're going to continue with, because I got a good one for the Haftorah tomorrow, but we'll save that for another day. Okay, we're going to continue with the Baruch Hu, our call to prayer, which can be found on page 39. Please rise.
Lai 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 Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach leolam leolam vaed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach leolam leolam vaed. Lai 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 na lai 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 na lai 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 na lai 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 lai.
We can continue we can be seated as we continue with the first bracha before the Shema, page 39. Baruch atah.
ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו. אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, המעריב הרבים. אהבת עולם, בית ישראל עמך, אהבת תורה מצוות. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. והיה אם שמוע תשמעו מצוותי אשר לכם מצוותכם. Adonai Elohechem emet v'yamunah kol avreim aleinu yonu.
Page 43. The top of page 44. Umalchuto b'ratzon kiblu alayim.
ומלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם. משה ומרים ובני ישראל לכהנו שירה בשמחה רבה, ואמרו כולם מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש נורא תהילות, עושה פלא נורא תהילות, עושה פלא. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה, זה לי ענו ויאמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר כי יפקד אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, ועמידנו מלכנו לחיים, פרוסנו סוכת שלך. עזר זנו וחמרנו ותוך כנפיך תסתירנו, כי על שמרנו מצילנו עד הגויים. ושמור צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ולשלום, מעתה ועד עולם. ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ברוך אתה אדוני Haporei Sukkot Shalom Aleinu, Aleinu 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 V'al kol amo Yisrael V'al kol amo Yisrael V'al kol amo Yisrael V'al Yerushalayim.
In that prayer, we offered hopes for a sukkah of peace over Jerusalem. And on this Shabbat, we hope that is especially true, not only over Jerusalem, over Zion, but over all of the land as Israel is enduring terrorist attacks from the Islamic Jihad and other terrorist groups. So we certainly hope that, and we recognize the blessing that we're going home to Shabbat dinner in our homes and to sleep in our beds, and that many tonight in Israel, especially in the south, are sleeping in bomb shelters. So our prayers and thoughts are with them. Page 46, Vishamru, please rise.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat La'asot et ha-Shabbat Le'dorotam berit olam Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat La'asot et ha-Shabbat Le'dorotam berit olam Beini u'bein b'nei Yisrael Oti le'olam Oti le'olam Oti le'olam V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Shabbos la'asot et ha-Shabbat Le'dorotam berit olam Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim v'et ha'aretz V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat Le'dorotam berit olam U'bayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat vayinafash Bayom hashvi'i V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat Le'dorotam berit olam Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah V'yalmad yivrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei B'chayechon u'b'yomechon u'b'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael Ba'agala u'b'zman kariv V'yimeru amen Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach Le'olam u'le'omei omaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpar v'yitrumam v'yitnasei V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shemei dekudesha brichu Le'yela min kol birchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata Da'amiran b'yalema V'yimeru Amen.
The Amidah can be found beginning on page 47 and concluding on page 52. Please use the next few moments as a time of your own personal prayers, thoughts, and meditations.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו amen. Yamma nai 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 ya la 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 ya la nai 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 ya la 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 yamma nai 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 ya la 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 ya la nai 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 ya la nai 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 ose shalom bimromav hu ya'asa shalom aleinu ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן. יתקרא ויתקרא שמי רבה, בימה דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי וחייכון ובימכון וחי דחו בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב ימרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם וליומי יומיה יתברך וישתבח ויפור ויתרומה וינשא ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה ושפחתה ונחמתה דמירן בימה ויאמרו אמן. תתקבל צלותון ובלתון תכל ישראל קודם אבוהני ושמיה ויאמרו אמן. יהי שלום רב מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ויאמרו amen.
I'll ask everyone to please rise for the Kiddush on page 55.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'yahava uvratzon inchilanu zikaron l'maaseh v'reshit ki hu yom techila lemikra'ei kodesh zecher litziat mitzrayim ki banu v'acharta v'yotanu kidashta mikol amim v'shabbat kodshecha b'yahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen. L'chaim. Wow. Bold. It's grape juice.
It's grape juice.
Oh, there you go. Okay. What's that? That's right. It is all grape juice. We're going to continue with Aleinu on page 56.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשינו כגויי הרצון, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל עמונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, הם במלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבותה אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. על כן נקבל לך אדוני אלוהינו תרכן עולם במלכות שנה בכל בני בשר. ככתוב בתורתך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
In love, we recall those who no longer walk this earth. We are grateful to God for the gift of their lives and for the cherished memories that never fade. On this Shabbat, we mark the yurtzites of Raymond Aini, Rabbi Sidney Markowitz, Edward Engel, Erica Kelman, Norman Nyman, Isidore Dennis, Albert Fink, Oscar Gumpertz, Leonard Goodman, Fred Klein, Alex Ladinson, Lori Marks Rubiner, Esther Mancher, Stella Rosenblum, Marla Bennett, Beatrice Davis, Joseph Fairman, Kate Farrar, Ted Hertz, Dorothea Morris, Phil Raymond, Jeanette Bell, Janice Lynn Bloom, Jacob Bruner, Gertrude Moore, Edith Picker, Evelyn Friedman, Gladys Kreisberg, Shirley Moore, Minnie Slimo, Min Hong Tu, Eleanor Benedict, Erwin Tiny Fortman, Robert Friedman, Reuben Marsh, and Ruth Rose Wallen. Is there anyone who's observing a yurtzeit for someone I didn't recall? Okay, we'd like to ask those of you who are in mourning or observing a yurtzeit, whether here or at home, to please rise as we sanctify God's name with the words of Mourner's Kaddish on page 58. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabbah, bi'alma divra kiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayachon v'yamechon v'chaye d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kari v'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabbam v'rach le'olam olmei olmaya, Yit barach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudusha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata damiram v'alma v'yimru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'romav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. And may the memories of our loved ones be a source of blessing. And let us all say amen. Before we conclude services with Yigdal, I'd like to just thank all of you for being here, and a special Yisher Koach and Toda Rabah to David Kaminer for providing the musical accompaniment, and of course for the cantor for beautiful davening. So thank you for that. I want to remind everyone that tomorrow morning, Psuki de Zimmer starts at 9 o'clock in Dieber Chapel, and then we'll start here for Shacharit at 9:30. There'll be a little Danish and snack if you get here early enough for Psuke de Zimra, we will reward you with high fructose corn syrup, which is, good for, why not?
Fructose corn syrup, is that what's in the...
The Danish,
Danish,
canter. I suspect that. And then tomorrow evening, Tisha B'Av, we are having a program here. We're the host of the community Tisha B'Av commemoration with several other synagogues, and that will begin at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock tomorrow evening for Tisha B'Av. And then right around the corner, we have welcome back activities. Only Adat Ariel has a program called the Hootenanny. So we are unique in so many ways, but I guarantee you, no other synagogue is having a Hootenanny, but we will. So we're going to have a hoot of a time at the Hootenanny. And anything else, Kim?
But before the Hootenanny, we're going to have on the 21st of August our Alkali concert, which is going to be a sing-along, both Hebrew and English songs, on the subject and theme of love.
Oh, that's nice.
Love.
Love's a good thing.
What the world needs now.
Is that an invitation for me to sing along?
If you'd like to, if you dare.
I think I'll keep the spirit of the service high. We're going to conclude with Yigdal.
One more thing about Tisha B'Av tomorrow night, if you're going to come, and if it's your practice to sit on the ground, whatever, during the reading of Eicha, bring a pillow or a blanket, because we're going to be outside in the LeBeau Outdoor Chapel, and so you'll be sitting on concrete. So, which is fine, I don't mind sitting on concrete, but if you want a pillow, bring it.
BYOP.
That's it, exactly. Or BYOB, bring your own blanket.
It may get a different type of Tisha B'Av practice, which may not be comfortable with. We would not only have a hootenanny, we have the only BYOB Tisha B'Av commemoration. I'm not sure we want to be known for that, so it's not the look we're going for. Okay. What page is Yigdal?
62
Page 62.
For Yigdal. יגדל אלוהים חי וישתבח, נמצא ויענה תל מציאותו, אחד ואין יחיד כייחודו, נעלם וגם אין סוף ליחדותו. אין לו דמות הגוף, אינו גוף, לא נערוך אליו קדושתו, קדמון לכל דבר אשר נברא, ראשון ואין ראשית לראשיתו. ידנו אדון עולם וכל נוצר, יורה גדולתו ומלכותו, שפע נבואתו נתנו, אל אנשי סגולתו ותפארתו. לא קם בישראל כמו שעוד נביא ומביט את אמונתו, תורת אמת נתן לימואל, על יד נביאו נאמן ביתו. לא יחליף פועל ולא ימיר דתו, לעולמים לזולתו, צופה ויודע סתרנו, מביט לסוף דבר בקדמתו. גומל איש חסד כמפעלו, נותן לרשע רע כרשעתו, ישלח לקץ ימין משיחנו, לפדות מחקקץ ישועתו. מתים יחייל ברוב חסדו, ברוך הדיין שם תהילתו, מתים יחייל ברוב חסדו, ברוך הדיין שם תהילתו. Good Shabbos.
Absolutely not. What? I won't. Forget it. I won't look at him. If you get some weird English, do not. Thank you. Reply. Great to have you back. I'm not kidding you. It was wonderful. Finally. Oh, sorry, Mr. Finally, I've been waiting for you to come back.
It's great to see you. Thank you.
Let's talk up the calendar.
Yeah. Okay.
Great. Take care. It says some weird thing like, hey, are you online? Hey, hey, did you do me a favor? Huh? And then if you reply, all of a sudden it's whack. Takes hold, changing my senses, hot mode, and they try to sell you CDs or that's all. What? If anybody's over that, then they. And everybody might never call. You're going to be. Oh, yeah, huh? You're a trooper. You're not a state trooper. You're a trooper. You know what? Now I have to tell my son. Yeah. That was always just better in this country. Oh, you can. Because you're coming here. No. Whatever. So, one Sunday out of the rest of the world. You're busy people. You're an open book. You're easy to read. You're an open book. Okay. Look for my email. I will. Don't forget it. Of course not.
Shabbat shalom. Yeah, I didn't see him.
You did?
No, but he's fine.
I think he likes to wander into the social hall.
All right, well,
And
please.
hang out on the stage in the back.
Maybe he's socializing in the social hall.
Right.
It's good.
He's an A1. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.